All glories to Mother Ratasha, all glories to the religion of love, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to our Supreme Lord. O Lord God, please help us live out these teachings and be an example of love in the world. Jai. All right, today we're going to be reading from a new book, The Religion of God. One winter's night, when crossing over the frozen fields on my way to the manor house where the master was staying, the snow in the moonlight looked as if the sky had fallen to earth, and I, Raja Khan, walked upon the stars. After the icy outside is the warm hall room where the master sits surrounded by the followers of the religion of love. It is in this the time when all are encouraged to ask questions that a guest asks of the master's powers to see past and future, saying, "Speak to us of destiny." Your destiny, says the master, is not written in the stars, but in every thought you think. Then is there the man standing in the doorway, saying he has only come out of curiosity, as he is a scientist, an atheist, who would find it impossible to believe anything which cannot be seen. "Do you believe in love?" asked the master of the man, and he quickly answering, "Yes," and then realizing he has been caught, this dour man, who is known never to smile, smiles. "I have only come," says the scientist to the master, "to ask a question of you that I have asked of several well-known spiritual masters before you, and so incurred their wrath as they felt my question threatened their authority." "Ask," agrees the master. "What if you're wrong?" says the scientist. "What if there is no afterlife, no spiritual world, no God?" "It would still be the most beautiful way to live a life," is the master's reply. And in the silence that follows, something passes between them, beyond words or worlds, so that the scientist comes into the room and sits himself down with the others at the feet of the master. Then are there the three elderly, elegant gentlemen, friends from boyhood, who always sit together and who often meet to discuss the philosophy of the religion of love. "Master," says the oldest and the wisest one, "we three were debating as to whether God has religion. Comparing ourselves to a drop of water from the ocean, which has all the qualities found in the ocean, but not in the quantity found in the ocean, and knowing we as spiritual souls have all the qualities found in God, but not in the quantity found in God, we came to the conclusion that we having religion, it stands to reason that God must also have religion. But after much discussion, we could come to no conclusion as to what the religion of God was. So now we ask of you, in all humility, if our conclusion is correct about God having a religion, and if so, what then is the religion of God?" And the master answering them says, "Your conclusion is correct. God does have a religion. The religion of God," says the master, "is love." Okay. All right, so the book, let's have a little commentary. The book starts with this poetic setting, and the followers of the religion of love sit around the master to ask questions, and one guest asks of her about her powers to see past and future. And this is something that a lot of people get curious about, the mystic powers or abilities of saintly or spiritual persons or masters or teachers, etc. Being able to tell the future, I guess, sounds pretty cool, right? So can you see the future? Can you see the past? Do you know all that's happened? She's asking. Of course, devotees are not really enamored by these types of mystical things, or even claim to have such abilities. If Mother Natasha did have mystical abilities, she didn't tell anybody because, she was so down to earth and she didn't want that to be of any people's attention, just the message of God. But the Master answers, your destiny is not written in the stars, but in every thought you think. Not written in the stars, right? This is the question of fate, right? Maybe my life, my destiny is fated to be, that everything's already predetermined for me. This is a question many people have. And my wife is taken off with the chair. There was a bunch of ants on it? Sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
Strange. Okay. So what is our destiny? Is it written in the stars? Do we write our own destiny in life? This is a good question. And it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Now, written in the stars, this would be like your astrology. And there are amazing Vedic astrologers, for example, real masters of their skill, knowledge, who actually can read your astrological chart based on your birth, time, and place, and can, with amazing accuracy, propound all of the events of your life, past, present, and future. And even some of your most recent lifetimes. What is the route you have been taking in this universe to get to this present lifetime in your present body? Can't go through all the lifetimes. That is, it's impossible. We're talking about millions and millions and millions of births. No, but recent stuff. And so that is possible, that someone can be told by an astrologer about some of their past and their future. That is actually true. But that is all limited to the material plane and your material life. And what is coming about with this course you've taken through the universe and the events that are going to transpire in the future are the fruition of karmic reactions. As you sow, so shall you reap. Whatever you do comes back to you. Very simple. People have the knowledge of the concept of good karma, bad karma, right? Instant karma. I sure get a lot of instant karma. The thing with karma, karma is like gravity. You don't have to believe in it. It will work on you. It's going to do its thing. It's a law of nature. It's a material law, not a spiritual law. Of course, everything is under the jurisdiction of God's creation. So everything ultimately is under God's control. Yes. But karma and action, reaction, cause and effect, these ripples that we experience in our lives, that is only in this material world, when we are acting out of our material consciousness. And this is that rule, whatever you do comes back. Every action has an opposite or equal reaction. And it's not actually good or bad or positive, negative. It's just the reaction. We call it good or bad based on whether it gives us pleasure or gives us pain. And if it's enjoyable, we say, oh, it's good karma. If it's not enjoyable, we say, oh, bad karma, right? We call it good or bad, but it's just a reaction. Just like when you fill a bathtub full of water and you sit in the tub, the water level is going to rise in proportion to the volume of your body, displacing the water. Now, that's not a positive or a negative rise, or good or bad, it's just the reaction. Simple. And every action that we have in this life has a reaction. And it doesn't always come to fruition, that reaction, right away. Sometimes it can take a while, even lifetimes, to come to fruition. So we're pretty much entangled in a net or a web of karmic reactions coming from left, right, up and down, all around, that we are pretty much burdened by, that we can't escape. And everything coming to us in our life is a result of our past actions. And of course, our present actions too, where our consciousness is, what are our desires, that too comes into play. But more about karma. Interesting to note, in past ages, just thinking a bad thing, you would get a karmic reaction just by thinking it. But in this age of Kali that we're in now, this present dark age, only by action is there karma. So, however, there is actual pious merit from very good thoughts. So, good to know, right? And remember, karma is a material law. Spiritual law is mercy. God doesn't judge us. He loves us. It is material law of karma that tries us and judges and delivers verdict. That's the material law. And we don't look on someone who's in a bad condition and say, oh, bad karma, too bad. But we give the mercy of God, His message, which is the higher law, love. So that's why as devotees we give in charity out of love to help one another without judgment. And so that's karma, right? Now that explains how things are coming to us and how we got to where we are presently in this body. And yes, we have these present bodies based upon our actions in the past life. It's not, random throw of the dice, who's born in America, who's born in Sudan, who's born in a human body, who's born as a tree. All life has a spirit soul in it, and every single embodied being is of the same spiritual nature, which we're going to get into. But by our consciousness and our actions, we end up in our present life situations. So, your destiny is not written in the stars, but in every thought you think. Think about that. So, every action, which ultimately brings about a reaction, originates as a thought or desire in our mind. We first had the will to do something in order for there to be a reaction to that thing, right? So everything begins and ends with our consciousness. Whatever we think, that is going to determine where we are headed in our life and even into our next life. At the time of death, which is nothing more than this present body expiring, becoming no more of use, and the spirit soul moving on to the next body, typically, is nothing more than a calculation of your actions and your consciousness, or as you desire and as you deserve. That determines where we go after death. Now, the devotee of God, however, in wisdom, knows that trying to be comfortable in this material world, trying to make the most of it and just going through the motions isn't really satisfying and doesn't actually cure the real problem that we have. And the real problem is death. Birth, death, old age, and disease, they are inevitable for every single person. Death is coming, whether we like it or not, whether we, close our eyes and bury our head in the sand and, pretend, la, 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 I'm not going to die. It's going to happen. It's been happening. And the wise person in life realizes that this is something that I need to solve. How to end suffering, how to end this cycle of death, birth and death, birth and death. So the devotee of the Lord, in all humility, surrendering unto God's will, tries to remedy this condition we're in, this diseased material prison house that we find ourselves in, through the cure of devotional service, and free themselves from this bondage of material world. But we have all these karmic reactions, mind you. There's all these things that are coming to us, circling, orbiting around us, ready to tag on us and attack us, or enjoy, right? How do we free ourselves from all that? Well, since this is all material, karmic reactions, it can be counteracted and actually nullified by the spiritual. And that is actually what devotional service does. And you've all heard me say this many times before. And we have a new friend here with us today, so I'll repeat it again. This stuff don't get old. When you engage in devotional service, hearing, chanting, remembering, engaging in the Lord's transcendental loving service and serving His servants, that action, when done selflessly, out of love, is action on the spiritual plane. And any spiritual action, or acting in devotion, does not have a material reaction. It doesn't. And if I go out and play some video games or go to work, everything I'm doing is going to have some reaction to it. But devotional service doesn't have a reaction. In fact, the effect of devotional service is it cuts the ties to the reactions of past actions that were coming to you. It liberates us from experiencing things that we would have been burdened to suffer or enjoy in this world. It burns up karmic reactions. And if your desire is for God, for the spiritual, eternal, ecstatic kingdom of the Lord, and to be in love of God, and to please God with loving service, if you have this goal, this desire, then through that way of thinking, that mentality, that will guide your actions more and more upon the path made straight. The path by which, acting in loving service, devotional service, spiritual practices, are we purified of everything not of love, and we rid ourselves of karmic reactions. Naish karma, not good, not bad, but naish, which means kind of neutral or negative or anti-karma. That's what devotional service is. That's what acting on the spiritual plane does. So an astrologer can, a really good one, there's a few rare ones, can accurately predict your future if you stay in material life. If you keep going along and acting in worldly consciousness, worldly desires, subjected to the modes of material nature. Bhagavad Gita is a good reference for all of this stuff. Then yes, they can accurately predict where you're headed. But for anyone surrendered unto God and engaging in loving service, really, sincerely surrendered unto God, they really mean it. Not just, quick to cry, quick to dry, just a hobby on the weekend, but you really give it your all, and this is your life. You're no longer on the karmic plane when you act completely in devotional service. And therefore your destiny is no longer written in the stars, and the cosmos can be predicted by astrologers. No. Now your life is completely in the hands of God, and at the mercy of the Lord and His confidential servants, His pure devotees, who are helping us come back home to Him. It's pretty neat, huh? So, do the best you can now. Work on what is in front of you. Take care of everything correctly in the present, then automatically the future is taken care of. So, and obviously, that would ideally be acting in devotional service, acting in love, not for my pleasure, but for God's pleasure. Okay, then there was this guy who was curious. He's standing at the doorway. He's a scientist. He's an atheist. And he doesn't believe in anything he can't see. I've heard this before from a lot of people. If I can't see it, it doesn't exist, right? Oh, ye of little faith, right? So, spiritual master, particularly Mother Atasha, very clever and cheeky, she says, well, do you believe in love? The guy's like, well, yes, I believe in love. But of course, she got him because, love isn't something you can just see, right? Love is a state of being. So this guy, he then he smiles. He realizes, she got me. He says, I only came to ask a question. And this is the question he says, what if you're wrong? Right? What if there's no afterlife? What if there is no spiritual world as opposed to this material world? What if there is no God? No supreme creator and proprietor and cause of all causes? No original supreme person whom we are all a part of? What if all of that is wrong? What if you're wrong? This guy's challenging the spiritual master. And she doesn't get offended. And as he said, some people got really offended when they asked that. I feel like they question their authority. But the devotee of God's different. They don't see themselves as authority. They're just humble, meek servants of the servants of God. God is the authority. And the spiritual master is only sharing God's teachings, God's message from God's scriptures, not making things up. No, they're just sharing exactly what God has given. No interpretation, just exactly as it is. And she says, it would still be the most beautiful way to live a life. Think about it. This devotional life that we live, or the life of a devotee. For one, we're non-violent. We don't cause unnecessary harm to others or creatures. So life is very peaceful, and we have a more peaceful effect on others, obviously. And devotees in spiritual life are tolerant, are clean, are kind, compassionate, moral, ethical, virtuous, all these wonderful qualities that are the natural qualities of the spirit soul, and are qualities and virtues which are expounded in the scriptures. When actually lived out, mind you, not just in name only, because there's a lot of people who claim to be religious, but they're not non-violent, they are quite violent. And they're not actually following sincerely and purely the teachings that God has given, but they kind of pick and choose what suits their worldly consciousness, and rather than change to please God, they rather change God's message and God's religion to please themselves. And they are not really living in the most beautiful way. But for those real sincere devotees, oh my gosh, they're so wonderful. And every devotee I've ever met around the world, from any background, Christian, Hindu, Muslim, Jew, doesn't matter. And even nothing, just chanting the holy names, but not putting any label on it. They're the most kind, loving, hospitable, gentle, sweet folks I'd ever met. And they live the most beautiful, simple lives. So touching. So it's the most beautiful way to live. So even if you don't believe in God, you don't believe in religion, well, surely you believe in love and kindness and compassion and tolerance and all those good things, right? Well, those are all religious principles, actually. Well, originally speaking. And she says, and in the silence that follows, something passes between them, beyond words and worlds. So the scientist comes into the room and sits himself down with the others at the feet of the master. Okay, now this is one of those, of course, when you're in the presence of a pure devotee of God, a saint, an actual living spiritual master, a confidential representative of God who's no longer in any material consciousness whatsoever. They're in their original pure spiritual consciousness, unencumbered by karmic reactions and worldly desires. No, the mind is pretty much, chilled out, and now they're acting from their heart, the real self. And to be in the presence of someone like that, oof, powerful. Oh my goodness, so powerful. Oh, hey, could you grab the cable? We didn't plug this in. We need the, I just remembered my webcam's about to gonna die. Forgot about that. Okay, sorry about that. So something's going on between the master and this man that, it's not like, me talking with someone on the streets or, some, influencer on Instagram doesn't really have that, that potency. But when you're in the presence of someone like that, oh my gosh, your heart can just feel it. At least for me, I was overcome with reverence and love anytime I was with Mother Natasha in person. There you go. And then there was these three guys, these three elderly, elegant gentlemen, who came to the conclusion, debating whether God has a religion, compare themselves to a drop of water from the ocean. So yes, one drop of water in the ocean has all the qualities found in the entire ocean, right? You take a big nugget of gold and you cut a tiny little piece off and you analyze it. Oh, no, you need the C to C cable. Oh, sure, yeah. That one to that one. Yeah. There you go. Oh, very gently. There you go. Okay. Shutdown averted. On the fly tech support happening. Isn't that cool? What was I saying? Oh yeah, the qualities, right. So you analyze it, the little tiny particle of gold will have the same qualities as the big nugget of gold. And so they have rightly understood that we as spiritual souls have all the qualities found in God, but not in the quantity found in God. And this is the correct philosophy of our position and relationship with the Supreme Lord. One in quality, different in quantity. So all these wonderful qualities we mentioned before of tolerance and compassion and kindness and love and knowledge and all these wonderful things, qualities of devotees, these are qualities of God that we in minute proportion also experience in ourselves. God is the infinite, we are the finite. God is supreme knowledge, we got a little knowledge, God is supremely beautiful, and we can be a little pretty too. So we have all the same qualities of God, but it's a little tiny portion, This is the correct philosophy, also known as Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So he comes to the conclusion, well, if we have religion, shouldn't God have a religion too, since we're all part of him? So we are, religious practitioners and we follow religion in our lives, it guides us, so does God also have religion? And the master answers, yes, you're correct. God does have a religion, and the religion of God is love. Very simple. There's all these quote-unquote religions out there, right? Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, Islam, Sikhism, Buddhism, this ism, that ism, that ideology, that ology. There's so many different groups, so many different schools of thought and philosophies out there, yes. And on the surface, because we see all of these differences, we come to the conclusion that, well, there's many different religions. And sometimes people think there's even a different God, right? But this is not the case. You see, in the spiritual world, in our natural home, there is no such classifications between spirit souls. There's not like, there's the Christians over here in this corner of heaven, there's the Muslims over there. No, it's not like that. We're all just children of the same one God. We're all just spirit souls. And everyone is just in love and loving service. It's very simple. Every time the message of God is given by any messenger of God, it's always a pure message of love. If practiced purely, if you follow the instructions correctly, you too come to a state of love, your natural state, because all that instruction following, all that service you do, all that hearing, chanting, remembering, purification of your heart and mind, clearing away all those karmic reactions, unburthening yourself, untethering yourself to everything of this world and coming to experience your real self, the real you, which is more brilliant than a million suns, the spirit soul. Oh, eternal bliss and knowledge, love. And later on, of course, People put a label on it, people give it a name, make a thing of it, make a business out of it, play politics, and then it becomes a this and a that, and walls separate each other, and that's all worldly nonsense. Men did that. God did not divide the people like that. God did not carve up the earth and make borders. No, men did that. And God did not give his message to divide us. He gave it to us to unite us with him in love and help one another also come to love together. This is love. Okay, just about reached half. Let me pause it there. Okay. Does anyone have any questions related to the class? Oh, you have a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
About karma, you said that in past even thoughts was counted as a karma, good or bad. But
Yeah.
now in this age, it's just action. What's the difference between past and now? Why is not the thought is not count as a karma, cause a karma or create karma anymore?
Why is, oh, my wife's referring to the teaching that in past ages, if you thought something bad or negative, it would still have a reaction just by thinking it, versus today, if we think something naughty or bad or wrong, it doesn't have a reaction. Only your actions will have a reaction. So you have to actually do something bad to have a bad reaction, for example. Why is that the case? Well, I don't know why. It just is, and if I was to assume, I don't want to speculate, none, but I believe that the reason would be is because life is really hard in Kali Yuga. And we have the shortest lifespan, the shortest of memories. We have the most degraded, age of consciousness. People are killing each other, killing animals wholesale. They're abusing, abusing resources with their greed. All the lies and corruption. It's tough. It's tough in Kali Yuga. It's a really tough time to live in. So why would your thoughts no longer give karmic reactions? Probably because, give us some break here. Give us some mercy. It's hard enough. Our thoughts are already, this way and that in modes of passion and ignorance and, driving us to act in so many ways that are contrary to the message of God and always leading us further away from God. So God forbid our thoughts even, would have the reaction. It's like, could you imagine thinking about murdering somebody and you went to prison for murder? I think there was a Tom Cruise movie about that. Yeah. Sorry, Tom Cruise. No Minority Report for you, Oh.
Maybe is it also related to the past eras? People, especially yogis, they could control their mind better because of the time that they were living. But now in this age, the people it's very hard for people to control their mind and thoughts.
Sure. Yeah. Let's just say that in Kali Yuga, the bar is set really low for spiritual realization. So we're actually blessed to live in this time. So even though it's the worst, most degraded, awful time to be in, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the age of ignorance, the Iron Age, it's the most sublime and easiest time to become self-realized and to cut the cycle of birth and death and go home to God. That's the silver lining. Because even though it's the toughest age to live in, it's the easiest age to come again to love of God. And the method of that is chanting the holy names. That is the Yuga Dharma, or the prescribed method of realization of Kali Yuga. And for our new friend here, who might not be familiar with, these yugas or ages are kind of like the seasons of the universe, right? We have winter, spring, summer, fall, which differentiated by time or by temperature. Cold and hot, right? Well, the seasons of the universe are differences of consciousness. And there's a golden age where our consciousness is very good and people live very, very long lifespans. And then then it gets shorter, 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 and then, and more degraded, more degraded. And then we're in Kali Yuga where it's just, oh, it all hit the fan already, and it keeps getting worse, unfortunately. But there's a window of opportunity for those who are wise and have some good sense, some good intelligence to see the harsh realities of this world that is a place of suffering, and determined to find the knowledge of the absolute truth, to figure out what is the purpose of this life, who am I really, what should be my ultimate goal, etc. And then, coming again to spiritual life and to your real self. So this is the best age to do it in, actually. Just chant the holy names, chant the holy names, chant the holy names. So powerful. So yes, very, very fortunate that in this day and age, our thoughts do not have reactions. Oh, goodness. That would be really tough. That was your question? Okay. Do you have another question? Now, good. Okay. How about you guys? Any questions or any spiritual question? Honestly, it doesn't have to be just on the class. We're here for you. This is, our service. I try my best to share knowledge as I've heard from the authorities. These aren't Hassan-isms. This is everything I'm sharing is I've heard it from the higher ups, and I'm just, regurgitating it back, as best as I can.
I probably personally have a lot of questions, but for now I'm just absorbing everything since I just joined and reading everything. I want to make sure I fully understand what I can understand before I, I'm sure I will have my questions, but right now they just aren't fully formulated.
Well, right on. Well, thanks for sharing that, and it's so nice to have you join us. We're already enjoying your company on the online server, so you're most welcome. And if anything does pop in your noggin that you want to ask, anything about spiritual life, religion, or life in general, don't be shy, and we'll explore it together.
It's definitely good to be here. It's felt nice being in this meeting, and it feels positive being in the server and looking around. It's just filled with positivity compared to especially other places I've been on Discord, so it's been nice.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. We try to keep the vibe really high. You'll notice on the Discord server, the top of all the text channels is association. But it's called association because devotee association is so beneficial to spiritual life. Until you meet a devotee of God, it's almost impossible to become a devotee of God yourselves. You can get closer and closer to that state of living, but actually that positive actions and positive seeking and that those righteous intentions that you have, that actually is what will bring you towards the association of devotees, which I got really lucky, and I somehow ended up in the association of devotees, and I was trying to be a good person and doing charity work, trying to help out. I was still a knucklehead. I was still doing a bunch of stupid, foolish stuff, as a young kid. But my heart was in the right place, and by God's mercy, I ended up meeting some devotees, and the more I associated with them, devotees meaning those who are actively practicing devotional service and who've given their lives unto the Lord and doing their best to follow all of God's commandments and injunctions and be his loving, surrendered servants of his servants, in all humility. And so until you actually associate with devotees, it's so hard to become a devotee. And unless you associate with a pure devotee, it's so hard or impossible to become a pure devotee. And so we associate with one another. And so having this space has been really beneficial for many, and including myself. I'm always hungry for devotee association, hungry for more love, to be around more like-minded, loving people. And so we have some facility to share in different, aspects of life, make it somewhat like social media in a sense, because we have a food channel, Soul Food. We have a nature channel. We have a critters channel for posting pictures of cute animals, and unless it's me and posting pictures of bugs, which are not always cute to other people, but but we have a multimedia section. So it's kind of like all of the things we kind of see, or kind of parts of the internet and that we see, but try and dovetail everything in devotion. For example, all the quotes in the quotes channel are things from scriptures and transcendental literature. All the food posted in the Soul Food channel are all pure vegetarian and offered in love to God first before we snap a picture. So it's all technically spiritualized. And the same thing, the critters, all the animals, we're sharing these in the knowledge that all of these creatures are our brothers and sisters too. They're all people, just in different bodies, all spirit souls like us, of the same quality as our soul too. So we try to dovetail everything in our life or sometimes, one way of saying it, just, tweak things just a little bit, a little adjustment to our consciousness to kind of guide us in a more positive mind state to bring about the best results in our life. Because whatever we and whoever we associate with, we become more like. And this is very important to know for spiritual life. Association always has an effect, always. And we're guided to, best as possible, associate with all these positive, loving, good, spiritual things as much as we can, because that will have that effect in our lives, versus, watching a bunch of, rap music videos and, twerking and stuff. It's not really going to be the best, effect in our consciousness. Although sometimes it's fun to watch stuff like that. I watch a lot of silly movies too. But as much as we can. See, we do the best we can. We're all at different stages in our life, in our consciousness. We all have different levels of desires for the spiritual, etc., etc. So we try our best in any way possible to just dovetail everything. And if you know that expression, dovetail, if you've ever seen a dove, its wings are so nice, and you see its wings, all the feathers kind of go smoothly together. So it kind of like in an effortless manner, just dovetail everything in your life in that direction, for the service, for the pleasure of God. And then of course we have all the resources, the spiritual knowledge section. We have this, the core scriptures and a bunch of great literature in the Goodreads and recordings of these classes, and a little breakdown of our spiritual practices, hearing, chanting, and remembering. These are universal forms of devotional service that you can find in every single scripture, and these are the things that are pleasing to God. This is the way in which you can actually serve the Lord in a manner that He enjoys, and ourselves be purified and come to love. Hearing means to obey the message of God, not just listen to it or read it, but to put it in practice. Practice what is preached. And then chanting the names of God, it's very simple, just recitation of the holy names, Allah, Krishna, Abba, they're all wonderful. And remembering God, that is trying to be conscious and be mindful of the Lord of the spiritual in our day-to-day, thinking of ways to serve God, soul food, for example, offering our food to God, prasad, and an attitude of gratitude, being thankful for the Lord, for everything He's blessed us with. Even the so-called bad things, like the other day, I hurt my back. It was one of those stupid injuries. I was sitting in a chair and I yawned. Oh, when I yawned, like something tweaked in my upper back. I was like, and I was pretty much, out of commission for like a few days. And then right after that, still not better. I'm moving a bunch of stuff. Oh my gosh. And even I thought, normally in the past, I would think, oh man, this sucks. Oh, this is a bummer. Oh, why me, right? Oh, how in the past I would have that mentality and it's all negative. But now it's all positive. Now I just think, oh, well, this must be the Lord's mercy. I must have, have accrued some karmic reactions because of some of my own nonsense, and now God is letting me clear it out now through my shoulder. Okay, that's better than being born again, right? In the life, right? So the more we practice, the more we associate, and this is also me associating with these wonderful saints who I read about in the scriptures, and their mentalities and their lives and things like that. Especially that, even these wonderful saints like the Goswamis of India, of Vrindavan, they thank God for all their problems, all their trouble, and they say, oh, surely by your mercy, it's not as bad as I deserve it. And you kind of, toned it down for me out of your mercy, because I surely deserve worse than that. Thank you, my Lord, thank you. Always this attitude of love and gratitude to God. So sweet. So yeah, association. I'm glad you made it here. I'm so happy. And hang out more. And if you were in person, I saw you like the food we post in the Soul Food channel. If you were in person, we'd love to cook for you. So, one day, inshallah, it'd be nice. This place here, this house we're at right now that we're using, currently have facility of, which some of y'all heard about in the scriptures, in the channel. We're going to be kind of regular here, so anybody in the neighborhood, come and eat. We'll be cooking.
I live in Michigan right now, so I'm a little bit far, but definitely I would like to hang around, and eventually it would be cool to meet and explore this full,
Well, that would be wonderful. We did just pick up a couch for free on Craigslist, so we have a guest couch.
Might have to come by then. Make a room service.
Oh, you know what? I think we have a couch.
One of the couches become beds.
Oh, and one of the couch actually opens up and becomes a bed. We got to clean it proper though. I ordered a upholstery cleaner to clean everything nice. It was free, but yeah, we have couches for all of you now. Come on by. You too, Yeti. You cross that pond and come on over.
California has better weather.
It's not as rainy in Melbourne. Yeah, so most wonderful. So glad you can make it. So anyone else have another?
I'll get on my surfboard and I'll get over there. But I don't know if America will let me in, mate. I've been answering Mr. Trump quite a bit on YouTube.
Oh, I think you'll get in. I've got a feeling that they are. Yeah, my wife got in. You'll get in, Aussie. Don't worry, you'll be fine. I've met plenty of Aussies out there in the boonies traveling around, so you'll make it.
Yeah.
Any?
They call us a nation of nomads.
Well, you'll fit right in. I mean, we even have the camper to sleep in too. So we got couches, we have the camper, oh my goodness, I got sleeping bags, I got a hammock. Unfortunately, no trees outside in the backyard, but we'll figure it out. So
You'll enjoy the house, mate, for a change.
Well, what I enjoy the most, honestly, in life, is, of course, being in loving service and to please my spiritual master, number one of all things. But the second thing I love the absolute most in life is devotee association. Just being around devotees. I love it. If this house was full of devotees chanting and cooking and oh my gosh, we could have a whole devotee soccer match. It'd be dope. My gosh, I would be on cloud 9 just to be with a bunch of devotees. And the best times of my life, of course, after being with my loving wife, wink, wink, the best times of my life were when I was at the Religion of Love Center in India with all my god brothers and god sisters. That was the best days of my life. When I was in an actual center where all the business was devotional service. everything we did. We're cleaning the building since it's God's building. It's it's our center for preaching and doing charity work, whatnot. We always saw this as God's building. So when we're cleaning the center, we're cleaning our own hearts. Because it's all for God, and everything was cooked in love. And oh my gosh, the devotees are amazing cooks. It's just happens. And eating great with all my God brothers and sisters, and then going out preaching, distributing books, and all the adventures in the towns and in different countries. It was hard work though. It wasn't a pleasure cruise. It wasn't summer camp exactly. And we worked very hard. Cleaning very rigorously, keeping ourselves clean, doing lots of service in and out of the town. Lots of service for the movement, for the book distribution, book editing, and newsletters, and all. So we were busy. We were busy a lot, and I didn't get enough sleep. I'm a real bear. I needed lots of sleep, but I was tired though. I was always tired, but still I was always excited and loved it. Just being with devotees, and it wasn't like it's free from drama. I wouldn't say that. People are people, and we're still clearing out our own issues. We're still purifying the negative stuff in our minds. And when you're working on yourself, some of that stuff comes to the surface and comes out. When someone in proximity, might get burned when you're, and that fire of self-purification. So we sometimes gotten a little argument here and there, but who doesn't? But in the end of the day, we're just all love each other, and we all have the common purpose. So if this house was filled with devotees, oh my gosh, that'd be wonderful. Well, hopefully one day, inshallah, we'll see. So, last chance, anyone have a question or comment, perchance? Don't want to.
Come on, one more thing. I would say the thing that stood out to me the most from what we've read today was when the scientists asked, what if you're wrong? And then it was, okay, well, it's still the best way to live. That's pretty much what I found too, because I believed in God when I was a kid, and then through my teen years, emotional scene fell out a little bit, and then I started coming to it again, believing Him and getting into religion again and stuff like that. And question obviously popped in my mind: what if I'm wrong? What if I'm doing all this for nothing? It's like, either way, I'm becoming the best version of myself. So what if I'm wrong? I'm still going to be the best version of myself. I'm going to be a happier person. So that's what stood out the most to me from today, I'd say.
Right on. And happiness, isn't that what we all want? We all want to be happy. The saint and the drunkard are both after the same thing: happiness. The difference is the saint knows where to get it. And it's not outside, it's inside. And you're right, by following and trying our best to live out the message of God, the teachings in the scriptures, we do become the best we possibly could be. It does bring out the best in us, and it does make us more joyful. And even if you don't have all the riches and money and all the stuff of this world, if you're self-satisfied within, there's nothing you need or want. To be satisfied within the self, to experience that love of God, your real self, nothing can touch you. It's wonderful. And you mentioned to be the best version of yourself. Well, in spiritual life, we're not trying to be the best version of ourselves. We're trying to be our real self, not the versions, not the diversions of the mind and all the labels that we give ourselves. I'm American, I am Indian, I'm Australian, or I'm man, or I'm a woman, or I'm rich, or I'm poor. All these designations that are just related to the body. The self-realization that a devotee will experience if you stay on the path is coming back in your natural state of being, your original consciousness, your real self, the actual you buried underneath all of this stuff. the mind, the body, all your memories and thoughts and stuff like that. That's all illusion, actually. That's actually not us. The body's going to die eventually, right? And your name and your possessions, all that stuff's going to go with it, right? Can't take it with you. So where do you go? The real you. Your body's going to go 6 feet under, or burn to ashes or whatever. But the real you is still continuing on. And that's who we're trying to get back in touch with, our real self. In material life, we're always trying to improve the person we appear to be. But in spiritual life, we become who we really are. And it's a gradual peeling away of all the layers of ignorance, all the layers of illusion, coming to our true self, which is love, pure love. And every single one of us is just a saint unrealized. This is self-realization. That's the first big, I guess you could say, major milestone on the path back to God, is you come to realize your real self. Not this body, not this mind, but as the eternal servitor of the Lord. And then without any question or doubt in your mind anymore, all gone, you full-heartedly engage in the Lord's service. There's nothing else. Before we're acting in knowledge and faith, but then you come to self-realization. Knowledge and faith are just integral parts of what you're just being yourself now and engaging what you're meant to do. And then you keep practicing, keep purifying, then comes God realization. To actually come to love of God and to experience God. We're talking oceans of nectar and love that, we can't even handle even a drop of that love. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. No words can give it justice, to be honest. You just got to taste it for yourself. But first you got to come to your real self, the real lover of God, who's you. And that's what we're trying to do. It becomes self-realized and then God-realized. And self-realization, God-realization, that in a nutshell is spiritual realization completely. So thanks for sharing, brother man. So cool. We have more friends joining us. Last call. Anybody wants to share something, ask something before we close it, and I let you guys go. I know we started late because of all the technical difficulties. What's new, right? My wife's sitting very upright, serious look on her face. No. No, it's okay. You guys good? Okay. I guess we'll end there. All glories to Mother Natasha. All glories to Religion of Love. All glories to the assembled devotees. Jai. Jai, jai, jai.